Today in the 7th lecture of DDCDP we'll actually have some discussion about the power of classes and how we can use classes efficiently in our CSS code. We also study what is BEM. BEM actually stands for block element modifiers, but it actually is a way of writing CSS code. It's nothing new, just naming convention of how properly write your CSS. And then we will have some introduction to the responsive design as well, and we will just make a simple flexbox based design and make it responsive. So in Visual Studio Code, I will create a page, call it classes.html. So as you know now, classes are for naming elements in a page, which can be more than one also. So we can reuse classes for our styling. Rather than giving styles to each and every element in a page, we can build one class and then reuse it throughout the page. So for example, I will design, if in Visual Studio Code there is a shortcut for creating tags, HTML tags with classes. So for example, if I type ul.menu for example and press enter, so a ul of class is equal to menu will be made for us. This is one of the shortcuts. You can quickly type your HTML. So we have a ul which has a class of menu, and then we will have uls, and let us call it li.menu. So what will it output if I press enter? Li class is equal to menu dash item, or just item for now, right? And then we will have some a tag. Hash is for dummy links. Home. So that's how this markup now looks. Now I want to, for example, just make about us a button. So rather than styling all the elements, and then maybe in the page we have another link also which I want to make as a button as well. So rather than styling elements individually, I will create a class and make a button out of it. So in the style section, we will make a class, for example, button. Button will have some background. We will improve this code also, but for now I'm giving background here. Then display inline dash block, padding 5 pixel 10 pixel. This is one of the shortcuts, but it actually is 5 pixel 10 pixel to the right, 5 pixel to the bottom, and 10 pixel to the left. So if I just see the button now, we haven't yet given class to any of the links. So what we will do is, for example, to this, the second one about us, we will give a class of button, and let us make the color white. This again can be improved, but for now, just for understanding purposes, color white, text dash decoration none to remove the underline, and if you see we have these dots also. This is because these links have been encapsulated inside the li tags, so we will remove those as well. So we will just li list dash style none. Now we have just, and we can even introduce hover on the button. How can we do that? Dot button colon hover background dash color, for example brown. This change is very sort of sudden or abrupt, so how can we make it a bit slower? Anybody? Shabas. So transition all means all those transitionable elements. So for now we will give it an all 0.2 seconds and ease and ease in. You can have some video on YouTube about these, but for example this is a car and it is very speedy and at the end it becomes slow, so this is ease in probably. Then there may be some car which is slow and then at the end very bus ka na, it when once enters the adda it gets speedy. So let us check it now. So it has now that effect of slowly transitioning from that color to this one. Is this fine?
Yes,
Okay, so this is now, for example, our designer has given us some designs, and this is the style where our button should be like this. This we have written CSS just once, and we will use it now wherever we need. For example, if we want to make the contact us button also as now we will just give it a class of button. So this one is now the same. If we add some paragraphs to the page, and for example I want to make this one as a link also, and it should be a button, for example. So what we can do is we can wrap it in the a tag, and then give it a class of button and some href as well. So it's a button now, the same button. Rather than styling these three elements separately, what we have done is and for some reasons, for example, the whole styling of your website has changed for some reasons. For example, your company has decided now our colors are going to be green and dark green. So where will you make a change? Not in the whole CSS document. You will just change it once here, and all wherever the class button has been used, it will get changed. You got it? So even for reusability and changing from one style to another, but these classes will have some impact. Is this clear?
yes.
Okay, we will add some paragraphs. For example, we want to have in this page here somewhere, you might have seen in a website, within the text you will see some box with some text written, some quote or whatever, block quotes, right? So for example, I want here a gray box within the text, and let us add some more lorem ipsums. we will create a class. For example, I will call it coat, and background dash color light gray, border 1 pixel solid gray, padding 10 pixels, float right. Float right means it will be on the right side wherever it is used, and height should be auto. So in this somewhere here I will create a span or div, whatever, div is fine. Class is equal to coat. Let us make this coat display block. So you can see the box here now to the right. Maybe it's not visible in your screen.
Because something is not yet here in the standard.
Yeah. Why is it not visible in the?
So 80 gives no content, that's why it's not visible.
Scale tag don't have any content.
So you will add some text in it. For example, this is a writer who has quoted something, and we want here is this visible now? But we want it to be, because we haven't given it any width, that's why it's stretching the whole screen. So we will give it a width of say 25% or 10%. Text is a lot, so we should reduce the quantity of text in this. The code is never this long.
So you delete button माने वो तो किया जाएगा फर्स्ट साइड में वो टूल delete. Yes.
So if you don't want horizontal scrolling, then just drag the words. In the
Yeah.
settings.
Toggle drag.
Yeah, that's good. So how will I be able to do it?
So go to settings.
The settings,
Settings.
Down left bottom.
this one.
Click on top command panel. Select. To search world.
Second last one.
Good. Okay, span class equal to code, so we will just reduce it. Now it's very easy. And we are missing the closing span. So this box is now to the right, and if we have more than, some more paragraphs, For some reasons on the multimedia the right side of the screen is not visible, so on my laptop it is fine. If you can see it, the box is like this,
Zoom out.
but there it is cut out. But you get the point actually. So with just one class which we have created, we can use it as a box in a page. So for example, at the bottom of this, here I want something. Block quote normally is so used for quotations. And we will give it a class of quote. This is it. Fine. Any questions? So you can have classes which you can make. Looking into your design, you can create classes which you can reuse throughout your website. Now we will come to the naming methodology. Calling it, we'll create a new file, bem.html. BEM. So BEM actually is naming convention for writing your CSS. Let me explain BEM. Let us go to images.google.com, BEM CSS. So for example, we have a card. Let me zoom it in. We have a card which has an image and then description, some text, and the buttons. So the wrapper will be known as card, which is the name of the element. Then whatever is inside it, these are called elements. So card image, card description, these are called elements. And then the buttons, which are also elements, but they are different, so that's why they have modifiers also. So BEM stands for block, element, and modifiers. So we will, for example, create a div. Div class is equal to, we will call it card. So the wrapper will have the name of the block actually. So this is now a card. If I ask you a card block, it would mean that you have given a class to the wrapper of the element, which is card. Then there will be, for example, an image. Div class is equal to image, but here just you have to notice that this is an element of the card element, the card block actually. So if we won't name classes like this, now everything has to be preceded with the name of the card, the name of the block rather. So it will be card underscore image. So elements are separated with the name of the card block by underscores. So if the name of the wrapper is card, the name of the block is card, then the elements will be named card underscore image, card underscore description, card underscore whatever. So those are immediate children of the card element. So now we will have description. Div class is equal to description. But previously we might be naming it class is equal to description, but because this is inside this and part of the card block, so we will make it card underscore. Is this fine? So we will use image here. For example, image, some t-shirt image. Or the person 3 image is fine too for now. And here we will have some small paragraph about the t-shirt. It is again not wrapping.
Alt the Windows.
Alt. Good. Okay, so we will have some small description like this. image, description, and then we will have buttons. So not the buttons, but we will make, for example, some text at the bottom of the page for now. So div class is equal to, and we will call it footer. But it should be card underscore footer, which is fine. So we have card underscore image, and card underscore description, and card underscore. For example, here we have two links. So ahref or one link for now is fine. If I just open it in the browser, right now we haven't given it any styling, so it's just image, the description, and the read more link. If we just inspect it, so we have card. Already you can see some difference of naming convention. I mean, we would be just arbitrarily naming classes. So now we have card, then card underscore image. This means that this image will be inside the card component, then the description of it, and then the footer. So from now on, at least try to use this naming convention for your blogs, right? We'll give it some styling so that it looks like a card for now. So for example, we'll start with dot card, with 25% or 20%. What will happen with the width, rather
25%
of the screen? If I give it a background, just for testing purposes, as light gray, so this is actually the width of the card. Why is this image flowing outside of the? Yeah, exactly. So what we will do? What we will do to the image? So
20%
exactly, but I mean, then you will have to give widths on two separate places. We just want to give width once, and it should enclose. So what will we do to the image actually? How to make images responsive?
Max width.
Exactly. So what we will do overall to the image image. Yesterday we had discussed widths, so we can give width also with 100%. But then if this image is inside a very large container, it will stretch across its original size. So right now it will work. So image width is working fine also, width 100%. But say if I increase the width of the container as say 1000 pixels, and original width of the image is less than 1000, then image will stretch to 1000 and its quality will be diminished, will be pixelated, sort of. So actually we will give, the best practice is to give max dash width. So it will stretch to its parent's container, but it will stop if the container size is more than its actual size there. Right now it will work the same. Okay, we want some padding to the description. So now dot card underscore description, padding say 15 pixels. Is this fine? And then we have a read more, and we have named it footer, if you remember, card underscore footer. So we will give it a background dash color or red color, white. Why is it not taking effect of color? Anybody?
Didn't specify the anchor to this.
Exactly. So now the BEM naming convention doesn't allow us to do something like this. Card, we can do it. Footer, then A. Color, white. Text dash decoration, none. This is absolutely fine as far as CSS is concerned, and even it is taking effect. There is nothing wrong in it. But the BEM naming convention lets us, for example, something like this. Or we can use underscores here also. So we will move it here. Is this fine? We have just named another class .card underscore footer underscore link, right? And in the HTML we will give it a class of footer underscore link. This is one of the ways you can achieve it. We can do it differently as well. So with this class, actually the same effect will be there. Is this fine? Okay, one thing, this is a question for all of you. If I move the mouse here, can you see it is not clickable?
Yes, sir.
It is not clickable. But if I move it here, it is now clickable. How can I make this like no, but it will be a pointer only, it won't be clickable still. I want this whole box to be clickable, so that link, if I click here, it should go to the link. How can I do it? Can I give background to the link? Let me give background to the link. Why is it only here, up to here? The background of the link is up to here only. What's the reason? Because links are inline elements. Inline. So we will have to make the link block level.
Block level, yes.
So when it becomes block level, it will stretch to the edges of its parent. So we will make the link display block. Now if I move the cursor here, it's clickable up to here.
Yes, sir.
So now we will remove the background color. Now if you see, it's clickable as soon as you enter the box, it's clickable and it will go to the link. Okay, now we can further improve it. We can further improve these classes. That's actually the goal of this session. So let us go again. We have a card which is for the wrapper, or we can call it block. Then these are elements. So this class is not advised in BEM. Maybe we can use it, a combination of it, but for now we will remove it. So .card underscore footer. This means that this is an element of the card block, and underscore link means you can go one further level down. So it means there is a link inside this element, which we have for now given it a color is white and we haven't given it any background is for the footer. So for example, I want some variations of this footer. For example, some should have background of green, some should have background of blue. So for example, here the modifier section comes. If you go to the BEM, these are modifiers. So underscore button is element, and then dash modifier. We can give some example here also. Another one. So for example, I want a yellow footer now. By default, the footer will be red. By default, the footer of the block will be red, but I want a green one also. So card underscore footer, and then dash modifier. This is the modifier name. Modifier means the same thing but with some difference. Okay, so card underscore footer dash green. I will name it green for now. And here what will be the background color? Green. That's it. We have another modifier, for example, and is blue. So background color will be blue. Is this fine? So we have nothing here for now, because
You haven't given a classes.
yeah.
to the underscores.
Okay. So we will make two more boxes, two more cards now. Just copy paste these, and now we will have three identical cards. But where will the difference come? Anybody? I mean, I want some of them to be green, the last one to be green. What will I do?
So we will give a classes of card footer dash green.
Exactly. Here we will give it a dash blue or green. That's it. So just with one change in one class, we have a different layout, and you can visibly see that all of these similar classes have been grouped together, but with certain differences. So those differences actually are the modifiers. Now how can I make all of these in one row?
Display flex.
Hmm?
Display flex.
But before display flex, what we will do? Wrap them in a container.
Main containers.
So we'll call it, for example, div class is equal to
Container.
card wrapper, or container is also fine. And just put them inside the container and make the container display flex and margin dash left auto, margin dash right auto. What will be the purpose of these two values? To center the div and give it the width of, for example, 80%. Have we given the cards any width? Yes. So these are the three. What else can we do to make the columns a bit apart?
Giving margin, simple margins.
Margin is fine, and gap is also, say, 20 pixel gap. This one. Okay, now I want to make the center one a blue one. So what will I do? I will just change the class green, then dash dash blue. Okay, so let us recap. This is the block, this is element, and this is modifier, right? We can further improve it once we have designs, but for now this is fine. Okay, as another example, we will create two separate layouts for images and text. So for example, I have a div class is equal to, we will call it image box. So the block name is image block. Then it has two divs. Div class is equal to 1, and then another div class is equal to 2. But now you are grown up kids of the last 30 minutes, for example. So how will you name it, these two?
Image box underscore 1.
Well done. Image box underscore 1, image box underscore 2. Or even if you want to make it more meaningful, you can call it column 1, column 2, or whatever. So let column 1, column 2. Is this fine?
Yes.
Okay. Right now we will use an image here. And some text here. So we have a wrapper of image box, then two elements, image box underscore column 1, image box underscore column 2. And now let us start some styling. So here dot image box, we will make it display flex, and width, say for example 60%, and background dash color light gray. Okay, again I have to, for example, for centering I use these two properties again and again. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
So we can create a class as well for this. For example, I will control C, I will just dot center
Yes.
a class and move these two here. So for example, I want to make this a class, so I can just give it a center class also. You got it?
Yes, sir.
So now this is a 2 column, and I want actually the columns to be 50%. How can I do it? Right now the image, the left is just up to here. I want both the columns to be 50%. Shabas. We are using flex. This is image box, this is column first, this is column second. So image box underscore column 1 and column 2 should be flex basis 50%.
Yes, sir.
So here dot, and if we give the same CSS styling to 2 or more classes, what we will do, we will separate them by commas. So image box underscore column 1 comma image box column 2, like this, and flex dash basis, for example let us make it 48%, and here we will give a gap of 1%, so both the columns are separate. Is this fine now? This is 50% and this is 50%. How can I easily center this image? Anybody?
Line items
center.
and justify content center.
Line items.
Yes, sir. Justify content.
Yeah, but we will have to make this also flex box, flex
Yes, sir.
container.
Make this.
So then it can be
Flex,
centered.
yes.
We will. That's not actually the topic right now. The topic actually is we have to have two columns which are 50% almost. So this is how we achieved it. Okay, it's fine. Now this is the normal behavior. This is the normal behavior of the this card. Now I want a modifier of it, and let us make it image box dash underscore. We will make a modifier. So how can we do it? Dot image box dash dash, and for example image right, enter. For example, I have this image box already. This is the default one. Okay, I will just copy paste it so that you don't get confused. Control C, Control V. Now we have two similar boxes, these ones, but in the second one I want the image to be on the right and text to be on the left,
Yes, sir.
right? So this is a modifier of the same. Actually nothing has changed, but just certain elements, and we want to style them differently. So we will create a modifier. Image where is it? The second one, image box dash dash, for example image right. This is the modifier. So you or somebody who reads your HTML, they will know that this is also the same card, the same block, but it has a modifier of image right. So now we will do some, I will remove this one, we'll do some styling here. Okay, and what will be the name of the columns here now, because the parent has changed.
Sir, right.
Here we will give
Image.
dash dash,
Yes, right.
sorry, not this one, second one, this one, column 1 dash dash image right, and dash dash image right. Is this fine? Image right, and even we have given it an image right. We can skip this also. For example, if this is not important, we can skip it, but just for our own purposes I have given it this one right now. So image right, now we will have to style this class differently.
So it will also apply this styling to both of the boxes.
Yeah, so
we don't apply on both of the boxes.
no, you have to check if there are common elements in the,
Yes, sir.
if there are common elements inside the boxes, then you will have to remove this class so that those are applied here. The difference will be applied to this one. So I will just copy this for now. Order 2. Order 2, and this one
Order 1.
order 1. This is 2, sorry, this is 1 and this is 2. We want image to be on the right, right?
Yes.
Okay, we have lost one thing. Let me just think how can we regain it, because I have changed the classes to the modifiers. So where is it? This one. we can give
before sir put a dot. Sir.
is this fine? We have given flex basis of this, and here we have only changed the orders. So with just one change, where is it? These are okay. Let's recap now. We have still the same image box. Image box is the name of the block, right? And again this is another one, image box. So why have I named them the same? Because there are more elements which have the same CSS styling things, so both of them will apply here. Now inside each of these we have, one has this column, the name of image box 1, column 1 dash dash image right, and image right, just column 2. You will remember actually, I mean if you are typing your CSS HTML, you will know I have such classes. I have a block, say its name is image box, then you will know it has a variation of image right also, so you will name it image box underscore column 1 dash dash
Yes, sir, right.
image right. You don't need to remember the CSS, then you have just written it once here
Yes, sir.
and it will apply across. So for example, I have now to create another image box now, this one. Another one. So what I will do is I will just focus on the names of these columns,
Yes, sir.
right? If I don't give anything, this is the default, image will be on the left. But if I make it dash dash image right, what would it mean? Dash dash image right, that's it.
It will change the order.
So these two are on the second side. Now if I need another one which is going to be the default one, I will leave it as it is. I won't give the dash dash image right modifier. Yes, so minus modifier is your default. This take it like this, minus modifier, I mean something which is not with the modifier, this is going to be your default styling. But if you give the modifiers, it means, and there can be more modifiers also, it depends upon your, I mean, designs or your creativity. So you will just write the CSS once, and then with the help of BEM and these modifiers you can change things. So now we have 2, 3 same, and with just this CSS, just a few lines of CSS, you have created some reusable components. It can be further improved. You can go to BEM naming conventions or whatever. Maybe I have some errors in it, but you get the point. Actually, you can use CSS like this. Is this fine? Good. Okay. Let us practice on some buttons also. So by default we have created one button, dot button something, or it was some other. Yes, so let us do it now. Dot button. So for example, we will make it display block, and you now know why we are going to make a button display block, because a link is inline and it won't stretch to the container. So if in order to make it stretch to the edges of the container, you will have to make it display block. Then some padding also, 5 pixel, 10 pixel, 5 pixel, 10 pixel. Okay, we don't want to specify the color of the button here. We won't specify the color of the button here. What's the point here, please? Anybody?
I didn't get the question.
Okay, let me just first create a link somewhere here. So these are two links, right? And to one of them, for example, this one, I will give a class of button. What change do you see here? It has come down to the second line. Why? Because it has now become a block level. And even if you just here, if you see the cursor is clickable, means it is stretching to the whole width. But on the second line, the mission one, it is still arrow. So if I just go here, then it will become clickable. This is because of the inline and the block level elements problem. So for now, this button, I will by default make it a where is that styling? Okay. So for now, if I give it background dash color red and color white. So I have hard coded the button. This is fine. Let us make text dash decoration none. I say let us make the width as it will be contained in some container like li or anything. That's why I'm not going to give any width right now to it. Let it move to the So now this is a button and this is not a button right now because we haven't yet given it a class. So wherever I use it, this link will be red because the class itself has red in it. Do you get the point? For example, in this text, this read mode, for example, if I make it, or this one, a link, href is equal to hash and class is equal to button. So this is a red button now. So we have hard coded the red color in it.
Yes, sir.
I don't want it like this. I want everything of it like this, but the color should be a modifier, not a hard coded value. That's my point actually. So what we can do is we can remove the color from here, and even this color will make background dash color, for example, transparent. Is this fine?
Yes.
Now I will create another class dot button
Dash
dash dash red, for example, dot button dash red. So background dash color red and color white, and dot button dash blue, for example. So background dash color blue and color white. Okay, do you know what is contrast?
So red and blue is contrast.
No, in general in design, what is contrast?
So opposite of the color.
Yeah, but foreground and background.
Yes, sir.
So for example, I will make another one, button dash light gray, for example. So in light gray, background will be light gray, and if I give it a color of white, now you will see what I mean.
Yes, sir. Color of black.
Now we can give these colors to the buttons, not dot button. We can have a default button of dot button, but for example I want the button to be blue. So in the now this is button dash blue. Got it?
Yes.
Where is it? Button
So
dash
blue,
dash.
yes.
For some reason it's
Sir, it will have some
not button dash blue. What's the CSS for it?
color white.
Color is white and
Some
background.
styling is applied, yes, sir, on the third count.
CSS classic button dash dash blue. Something is missing probably.
Sir, it is applying, sir.
Where is
Third
it?
card, yes, sir. Up.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have now the padding
Yes, sir.
probably or whatever, but at least you have got the. So that's why your main focus will be on the main dot button. This is actually, this styling has gone away. Okay,
So we just need to add the button.
exactly. You can add button and then the modifier. So here,
Sir, give some hint about the contrast colors.
okay,
Buttons.
where is it? If you can give blue and blue dash dash blue, for example, button dash dash blue and button. So all of the properties of button will come up and this will be an addition.
Yes, sir.
Now it is fine.
Yes, sir.
We can repeat classes, we can combine some classes in BEMs, but we can rethink how we should do it. This is an assignment for you, okay? You should have, with one class, you should be able to change the appearance of some button, for example.
Yes, sir.
Let us just quickly Google how people use BEM for buttons. Button dash dash success, button underscore text. So in CSS, even as I mentioned before, even without going to CSS, you can just guess it from here.
Yes.
How are they using? Button is the main class where all of the styling will be there, and then you will have these two, which are the modifiers. So just like Wasim said, we have used button here
Yes, sir.
and then the modifier, because buttons normally is not a strictly containing element. It lies independently of any elements, so we can style them like this. So I hope the use of classes, which was one of the topics today, power of classes and what is BEM, we have covered them. You can have further details about them, further research, so hopefully you will be in a better position than me doing it. Now we will move to responsive design, and as I said yesterday as well, it is now taken for granted that all of your design should be responsive. Like nobody should be asking you, I need a responsive website, because it is taken for granted that website should be responsive. And responsive means it should display well on different mobile devices, tablets, and of course desktop. But I will first go a few years back, and let us just, and yesterday you had an assignment also regarding fixed widths. So let us start with responsive.html. So for example, div class is equal to wrapper, and it has to div class is equal to left. For example, this is 2013 or 2010 and people are still not into responsive designs, so we will start from there. I'm, for example, in 2010 right now, and I'm making a website with floats. So we have a left column and then we have a right column, and it has both of them have some paragraphs. What was that shortcut? Alt?
Alt Z.
Okay, good. And again we have some paragraphs here. We will make the wrapper, the text inside these two columns float left. Dot wrapper, it has a background say of light gray, width is 960 pixels, and margin dash left auto, margin dash right auto. It is not taking effect, the width is not taking effect. Why? Dot wrapper, width 960 pixels, margin left auto, margin right auto. Maybe we haven't yet styled it. Background dash color this, width 960 pixel, margin left. Anybody, why is it taking not effect? Maybe we have some open divs probably.
It is taking effect, sir.
Hmm?
Sir, it is taking effect, but the screen is zooming.
Yeah, you are right. Yes, it's fine. So let me, is this fine now? Okay, so this is left column, this is right column. What we will do is now give widths to left and right and make them float. So dot left, say we make it width is 200 pixels and float left, and dot right. Normally one thinks I will have to make it float right, but it also has to be float left. So width of say 760 pixels and float left again. So we have now these two. Anybody, why is the light gray background not visible now?
Because we haven't yet given a height, sir.
Yes, but even before
it is out of the box right now. We have to add another div and clear both.
exactly, this is called clearing floats. Clearing floats.
An empty div, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, sir.
Okay, so float left, this is known as clearing floats. I already have told you, if there is a wrapper or parent div and the children are being floated to the left, the wrapper becomes it's kind of empty. So what we will do is at the end of the containing div, the end of the wrapper div. So here we will add a div class is equal to
Empty div.
empty div. There are many other ways of doing it, but this is my favorite, though it is an extra HTML tag, but
Yes, sir.
we will call it clear, for example. And in the CSS dot clear, and the property is clear both. This is a bit confusing. If you name it something else, then it won't be that confusing. So clear both will again make the elements contained inside it, right? Okay, this is a very rigid layout now, so it's fixed width also. Websites used to be like this previously, before the advent of responsive designs. So I will now give the left some color, background color, so that you can see the boundaries of it. On the right also. Is this fine?
Yes.
Okay. We have no margin at all. We have no margin at all. If for example, because the width of the container is 960, the right is 760, this one is 200, so 960 is all occupied.
Yes, sir.
If I give now just 1 pixel of left margin to the right, what will happen? Anybody?
Well, down.
And what is this technically called?
Down, yes, sir.
Float drop it is called. Float drop means that lambda person again. Okay, if 1 pixel is just added to it as a margin left, it will move down. So let us try it. For example, to the right I will give margin dash left 1 pixel. So it will come down. This is known as float drop because it doesn't have more space now to occupy that. So this used to be a common problem in pre flexbox and grid layouts era. It would always happen like this, and then you would have to. Now what's the point? What we can do now? We will change the width of the right to 759. So it will again now be back to normal because we have given it a 1 pixel. If we give it a 10 pixel 10 pixel margin left, so what we should be it 50. But this is not robust solution. If you change the margins, you will always have to change the right side widths also. This is not going to, this is not very sort of reusable thing. So we want to make it this tough also. We will now do some math and move it to percentages.
Yes, sir. Make it responsible.
One of the ways is, for example, if I inspect it, there is a Chrome extension called ruler. What? We will install it for now. Okay, it already is there. Okay, so the left is 200, the right is 750, and total width is 960. Now we will do some mathematics. So for example, if the total width is 960 and we have the left column of 200 pixels, so what percentage of it is this?
Yes, sir.
So do you know the percentage formula?
Yes, sir. Multiply 100% divided by the main container.
200 divided by 960 multiplied by 100.
200 divided by 960
Multiplied by 100.
multiplied by 100. This is like this. If for example in 960 we have 200 width, so what will it be in 100? That's going to be the percentage. So this is x. Okay, so x becomes 200 multiplied by 100 divided by 960. So let us do this calculation.
20%, 25.8.
So it will be 200 divided by 960. 200 divided by 960.
20 multiplied 100 equals
So it's multiplied by
multiplied 100. So it's not,
this is not,
20.83.
yeah,
200 multiplied by
Multiply by 100 divided by 960.
.83. So in some 100% width we will make it 20.83.
8%.
Let us write it here for now. 83 is our left. Okay, now the right one is 750 divided by 960 multiplied by 100. So it will become 750 divided by 960
78.1.
multiplied by 100. So this is 78.1. 78.1. Okay, 10 is a bit easier for margins. So 10 by 960 multiplied by 100. So it will be 10 divided by 960 multiplied by 100. So it is 1.01. 1.04. Yes, sir. Where is percentage? Okay. So for any 100% width or whatever, for any containing width, we will now give it a percentage of this. Now I will make another wrapper. We will call it wrapper 2. We'll call it wrapper 2, and for now just let us copy these styles. Right now both of these are 100% identical. We will give this one a margin of margin top of say 50 pixels so that they are separated like this. Okay, the second one is the one we are going to make it responsive. So first of all, the rule 1 is the container should always be in percentages. So for example, it was 960. I forgot to install this page ruler. Maybe it is already there. Page ruler, this one. Okay, this is the ruler. So I will click on it and just notice the width. It is 960, you know. Okay, and if I just, for now this depends upon the screen size, but like your desktop screen size can be different and mine can be different, but now right now I'm just copying the actual screen size of my laptop. So again I will click on ruler. It is actually 1532, so maybe 1540 is the size, or we will take it 1500. The width is 1532. Is it okay? So now let us do some more maths. If in 1530, we will make it 1530, okay? If in 1530 the width is 960, so what it will be in 100? Are you getting?
Yes.
into x. So now it will be 1530 divided by 960
Yes, multiply by 100.
multiply by 100. No, it's other way around. In 960 is in 1530.
62.74.
62.74. Okay. So we will give it a width of 62.74%. So roughly, let us just check if it is almost the same. So it is almost the same. Can you see? Okay. Now the widths should be in percentages also. So we have already calculated them. They are like the left is 20.83. 20.83% and the right one is 78.1. And what should be the margin? This one
1.4.
1.04. Okay, we had it somewhere here, but it is 1.04.
Down the right.
1.04%. So almost the same now.
Yes.
And if I now just judge the difference between the two now, the second one will be just like a rubber. It will just be like a rubber sort of. It won't break. It won't come down. Everything is in percentage. Even the wrapper, the margins, the width of the right and the width of the left. So you can see it is shrinking with the design, but the top one is rigid.
Yes, sir.
It's not doing anything.
Yesterday we haven't calculated the main container percentage, but it's working. Sir.
Yeah, because this was just for visual. I was just making the point that both of them are now of the same size. So thank you, Wasim, for calculating it for us. Once the parent is, once the children are in a parent, so percentage, whatever is the parents' width in percentages, that's 100% for the children. So now for example, you have very large, even in TVs these days, websites are displayed, and the width of the screen is very large, sort of. So you can calculate percentages like these. On desktop, it will be still something like this. On mobile, on tablet, it will be like this. But when it moves to mobiles, then this may not be working. So we will do other things. We will change it to stacking or whatever. But at least this percentage should be. You should know this formula of percentages. If something is something in a fixed width, how should it be in a responsive percentage based layouts? Is it fine?
Yes.
Good. So let us give this as an example. Once it reaches something, say for example some width like this one, so then the left one should be on the top and this one should be on the bottom. The columns should be stacked.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how many of you know about media queries? Add media.
Yes, sir.
There are more than one syntaxes of it. For example, media screen and for example min or max width, say 480 pixels. There can be more than even print media queries and all, but mostly this screen is used, or even nothing is used. You just can even use this add media max width 480 pixels. There can be viewports, media queries also. You can read about them on Google, but the ones which are mostly used, I will be using that in the design. So you can use add media max width 400, or you can use add media screen, and this is also fine. So for example, for max width 480 pixels, I want the body to have a background of yellow. What does this mean?
480 pixels to yellow.
Yeah, so max width means up to 480 only.
480.
More than 480 it won't be then background yellow. So up to 480 I want the body background to be yellow. So the body is not yellow, but once it reaches 480, so it will become yellow. So this is actually, I mean, this is not very tough. We can use then again Chrome has extensions for sizes. These are the sizes responsive, so you can drag it. So you can notice the width in the top dimensions, this one, responsive dimensions. So if it is 484, it is okay, 3 it is okay, 1, and as soon as it reaches 480 it is yellow now. Is it fine?
Yes.
Okay, so let us redo some of these styles we had done before for floats. Okay, we want to make the width 100%. So we will copy the same CSS again, dot wrapper 2 inside this, and let us remove the body. So at maximum of 480 pixels, what we can do is dot wrapper 2 should have a width of 100. Why are we making it 100%? So it can stretch to the edge of the mobile screen, for example. Yes, width is 100%, and then the left should be on the top. I mean, should not be floating at all. So let us move these two classes also to the media query, inside the media query here. You are sort of repeating those classes, okay? So the width should be 100% of the parent, and it should not float. So in order to reset float, we can use float none. I want it not to float once it reaches the mobile. And here it is again 100%, and it should not float it also, so float none. And I don't want to have margin left here, so margin left I can make it 0 for now. Is it fine? Okay, so as soon as it reaches 480, so now it's not but one thing is strange, it is still taking some width, I think. Why is it so? Why is it not covering the whole screen? Anybody?
The wrapper 2 should be 100%.
Yeah, so what we have done? Dot wrapper 2 with 100%. Maybe there is some problem with the markup. Dot wrapper 2. Left 2, right 2. So float none. Maybe there are some styles which are still being applied. Let us check it.
try to it out of the media query, I guess. CSS.
No, this left to right to, it's fine. Okay, this is not the issue. Whatever we wanted to achieve, actually it is there. We can just inspect it and check it, why is it doing so after the class. It is 447. Okay, it's fine. Actually this is fixed width, the top one, so it's not going to contain itself. If I remove this markup, it will all be okay. And this is a blessing in disguise. I have diagnosed it. There are times in your I mean, if you have a very large sort of layout, if I remove this container and now this is fine. I mean, there is no problem in it. It's 100% stretching. So if you reach 480, for example, it will stack on top of each other, just like this. Is this clear now? So there are times in let me just control Z it. There are times when you are designing something and there will be horizontal scroll. This is known as horizontal scroll. Even on mobiles you should have no horizontal scrollers. So if there is one, it means on the top of the page or below the page there is something which is causing this fixed width thing, and it is moving the responsive design into horizontal scrolling. So you will have to check this if something like this is happening. Okay, so this happens with us all the time. Maybe you also start to encounter something like this. So you will have to realize that there is something in the page which is beyond the 100% or it is fixed width. That's why it is causing the horizontal scroll. After the break, we will have some more responsive design concepts. That's fine till now. Thank you. So we have covered all the three things we had to, but we will dig further into details after the break. Okay, we will continue with introduction to responsive design, and in this session of day 7 we will have a flex box based layout which we will make responsive. But before that, let me just give you some if I go to cnn.com, for example, you might now know control minus or command minus on your laptop means what it means. If I press command minus, it means I am now viewing the website on a larger resolution. It goes opposite of what you do. So for example, if you press on command minus, it means you are now viewing the website on a larger screen. If you press command plus or control plus, it means smaller screens. If I keep on doing so it becomes a mobile resolution, for example. Got it? So if I go back to cnn.com, and command 0 means it's the mean position of your browser, zooming in or out, whatever. So if I press command minus again, so you may notice that the website stays in the center of the page. Why is it so? No, I mean, if I had a 100% width website, so it would be covering the whole width of the screen right now, but it stays in the center of your screen, like what might be the width of the wrapper. It is not 100%, entirely 100%. It is 100% to some extent, but then it stops reaching some media query, for example. So it means we have given some sort of width to it, but to some extent only, right? This is what we will also do. So let me create a new page, call it responsive 2.html. for example, for now I just create a div, or let us use that technique, div dot container. So what will it do? It will create a div with a class of container, right? Let us give it some width of, in the style section, dot container width 100%, for some because we don't have any content right now, so let us give it 100 pixel height, background color red, and the width is 100%, right? So if we just preview it in the browser, this is actually this. Why is this space? Because browser, exactly. So if I control minus now, it will always be stretching to the edges of the screen. What it means is, if a website is built like this with a 100% width container, then you won't see any spaces like you are seeing in the CNN website. Like this space to the right and left, you won't see it. Everything will still be covered in the screen. Maintaining such websites for very large screens can be very tricky. So normally what website developers do is they give max width to such widths. For example, I will give it a not width but max width. Max width means say 1920 pixels, and I will remove the width from here. So if I come back, and also margin dash left auto, margin dash right auto, so it will center the div like this. So if I now control 0 rather, this is because right now my screen resolution is less than 1920, so it seems as if it is 100% of the my screen resolution. But if I control minus now, so it will now start to be in the center of the page, just because now the container is maximum to the 1920 pixel size. So we will majority of times we will also design websites like these, I mean the web pages. It will have some max width so that it stays in the center on very large resolutions. Is this concept clear?
Yes.
Okay. Even BBC, if you go to BBC website, for example, control 0, this is normal resolution, but if I control minus it, it means now very large screens, and the website stays in the center. And if you have to check the quality of a website, if it is not staying in the center, means it hasn't been built properly. Either it will be shrinking, moving towards the left or right or whatever. This div, this is now 100% div. This one is 100%. The footer is 100%, but more or less the website stays in the center. Okay. Now we have a container, and I will make some divs inside it. We can call it item. Is this fine? We have created a container with 4 divs in it. So we can call them column for now. And then we will create some paragraph items in it, so that some content is there. What was the shortcut?
Alt Z.
Okay, so these are the 4 paragraphs in it, and if I now remove the height from the container, it will stretch up to the content in it. Is this fine now? Okay, so I want to display these 4 items in columns. How will I do it?
Make the element display flex and flex direction column.
No. Display flex will be enough. Now these are all in 4 separate columns. Is this clear?
Direction column.
Okay, now the problem is that if the screen size is reduced even to the mobile screens, it is all in 4 columns. So we will basically divide our if for example if it gets to this size, it should be showing 3 columns. If it gets to this size, it should be showing 2 columns in a row, and that's all. So this is what I want to achieve now. Text is not visible, so we will make it color white for now. This is actually the contrast concept. So if I make the text color, say this, is the text properly visible? Because what is foreground color? The text of the color right now is foreground and background is red, so there is very little difference between the 2 colors. It means contrast is not good. Again, I will go to that color theory concept. If somebody is wearing a shirt of red type and then a tie also of this color, it won't look good. But if both of them have maximum contrast, then that will look good. So if I make the text color white now, it will be visible because of the contrast. So we'll make it white again. Now it's clearly visible. Let us zoom it in. Okay, so let us Google something. Common breakpoints for responsive design. So as I have mentioned, the quality of screens and it always is on the higher side with the every passing year. So these days, for example, we can write a responsive media query for this size, then this size, this size, this size, right? So 1920, we are actually dealing in the widths. So 1920 probably, for example, is one of them. 1366, 1536, some of these we can target. So we will start with 1920. Here, at media, screen, and max dash width 1920 px. Then, for example, max width, what was it? 1366. So it will be 1366. Then 768, for example, or maybe 1080, something like that. For example, desktop, large screens, small screen laptops, tablets, mobile screens, extra large screens, something like these. But these are actually some of them. So for example, we will target it by this, or say 1000 is the $980 normally for tablet, and then mobile, for example, it's $480, say. It all depends upon your preference also, but if there are mostly used ones, we can use those. So for example, media query for tablets. This is very old. You should be searching for newer resolutions. We'll make it 1000 for now, 980, that's fine. Okay, so what does this mean? If whatever CSS we write here, it will be applicable to the maximum width of this one. If we write something, it will be applicable to the maximum width of this. This is a bit confusing, minimum width and maximum width. Okay, so you have to be very cheeky selecting these media queries. For example, I want something to do take effect from 480 and 980, something between. What can we do? We can use it inside this one. So max width 980. If something I have written here, for example, and written here as well, it will apply to both this one and this one. Why? For example, if I have written something here, body background dash color red, so it will apply to this also. Why? Shabas.
480 less
Because
than
480
980.
is minimum, then 980.
Because 480 is included in 980.
Exactly, because max width 980, it means something will take effect up to 980 pixels. So 480 already is less than 980. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, you can also specify ranges. So min and max width CSS query. That's it. So you can specify one more and then this. So in case you want to strictly specify how should two parts of the CSS work, so you can enclose it between max width and minimum width. So for example, I want strictly something to happen only between 480 and 980 and not inside 480. So what I can do is I can specify one more thing, one more media query, and we can add one more and here, and min dash width, say 481 pixels. Now what it will do, it will have something which is written here. It will only work for something below 980 and after 481, means after the mobile one. Got it? So let us see if it is working. We reduce it to So now 980 something, and it will work only up to the mobile screen. How can you know if it is working? Just inspect it and notice the sizes here. So up to 980 it will work, and if it goes to 480 it will stop working. So now the body now is again white. Got it? So you can specify ranges also with just another and another media query. Okay, now let us come back to our design. So we have these 4 columns. I want them to be 3 columns when it reaches 1366. 1366 is this one here. I want this one to move to other line. So what we can do is max width 1366. This is this, but we want it between 980 and 1366. I want it to be. So what we can do is another one, for example, and min dash width
In brackets.
what should be a minimum width, Shabas? 981 pixels. So I want it between this, so 981, and maximum width should be 1366, or we can even make it 1365, for example, if we have to have something else for here, but 1366 is fine too. Okay, these are edges actually. So if you give something here as 1366, it will again clash with it, so better we make it 1365 to be very specific. Fine. Okay, here we have item, dot item. So dot item, Shabas, what should be the CSS here?
Sir, display flex and flex rep, sir.
Yes, flex rep is going to be one of them, but it will be on the parent. Here what should be the CSS, so that it stays in 3 columns then. Flex dash basis 33%, for example, or the 33.3% is fine also if you are not going to give any gaps for now. So the flex basis should be this, and the parent is dot container. So container should flex dash wrap. Is this fine? So when it reaches something like 1365 and up to 981 pixels, it will be 3 columns. So 1365, right? 65 3, and if we make it 66, it will be 4, but as soon as it switches to 1365 and below, it is 3 columns. Is it fine? And it will stay so up to 980. So it again becomes 4 because it's 980. Okay, for on 980 I want it to be 2 columns. So what can we do, Shabas?
So we give 50% flex basis
Shabas.
on 980.
And where will it be?
So on item on 980 millicuries.
This one, 481 to 980.
Yes, sir.
So here we will just copy these CSS styles. And paste them. Minimum 481 and maximum of this. So here we will just paste them, and the flex basis will become 50%. So now it already is in 2 columns. As soon as it touches that 980 barrier, so it becomes 2 columns, and it will be like 2 columns again if it reaches 480. On 480 it becomes 4 again. So we are not going to make them 4 columns. Here we will make them 1 column, single column. So what's the way out for it? Shabas?
100% basis.
Shabas. One of the ways is to make it 100%. Another one is not to flex these items at all. But flex has advantages, so we will leave it flexed.
Only if you give 100% width, it also works.
Yes. So here we will make it 100%. Fine. So the rule actually is you should never have horizontal scroller. So from, if we go again to the start, we have 4 columns, and then if we shrink it further, it becomes 3, and then it becomes 2, and then it becomes 1. This is what responsive design is all about, right? So you have to be very cheeky as well as choosy, selecting media queries, and then okay. Now we will be, for example, I make another div also. Another container. This one, and copy it and just paste it over here. This is another div. We will call it container 2, or for now container 2. These are identical columns actually. Now just give container 2 a margin top so that we can differentiate between the two. Dot container 2 margin dash top 50 pixels. So these are not two separate. This one is column container 1 and this is container 2, right? So for example, I want 3 columns here in the second one. In the second one, I want 3 columns, and if it shrinks to say this one, here 3 columns, we want 2 columns. And if, for example, here we have 2 columns, here I want 1 column. I mean the number of columns are different as per the media queries. So now I will again write CSS for it, right? So what we will do, we will make all these media queries again for container 2 also. So for example, I will copy this one, dot container 2, and then it has dot item decision selector, because we are not using the decision selectors here. So just to be more specific, we will make the flex dash basis 50%. Fine. Copy this one again, and we will make this one, it was half, so we will make it 100%. So all of these are 4, but if we reach some stage, here they are 3, but here they are 2, because we are now tackling these two differently. And then if the top one has 2 columns, the last one will have 1 column. Is it fine?
Yes.
So again, this is playing with CSS. From the earlier part of today's lecture, we really wanted to have some classes which we can reuse always,
Yes.
right? Rather than writing CSS again and again. So So here let us do some tricks again. For example, I create some classes here outside of the media query for now. Just dot XL. XL means extra large, right? Dot XL dot L for large screen, dot medium for tablets, for example, and dot SM for small, and dot XSM XS for extra small. Like if you are on the portrait of a mobile screen, that's extra small. Okay, so these are actually this classes for now, right? Okay, dash 1, for example. Right now I'm just creating 4 classes. Okay, so XL dash 4 dot XL dash 3. These are just classes, remember, don't get confused. Okay, XL dash 2 dot XL dash 1. We will call it LG. Okay, LG is a bit explanatory. So on large screens, similarly we will have dash 4 dot LG dash 3 dot LG dash 2 and LG dash 1. Is this clear? These are just classes, remember. Similarly for this we will have 4 MD dash 3
Control shift down arrows.
2 and dot MD dash 1. Let us practice these 3 for now. These one will be done later on. Okay, so what does this mean? XL dash 4, XL dash 3, XL dash 2, XL dash 1. XL means very large screens like 1920 or whatever. Then we have large ones. So for example, if I give something a class of LG4, what should it mean? It should mean flex dash basis, for example 20, so 25%. LG dash 4 means 25%. Okay, this one it will mean 33.3%, and this one flex dash basis, it will be 50%. Is this clear? LG4 is 25%, LG3 is this, and flex basis 50% too. So we can specify. Now we will use these classes and we will create a new container just at the bottom of the page. Div dot container 3. This fine. Div dot item and we will give it LG like this, and let us give it a container class also, so that we can make it. Okay, this is that column. Okay, let us give a margin of dot container 3, margin desktop 50 pixel. So it is in 3 columns. Why?
Because we have defined 3 items.
We have items are 3, but if I remove this, for example, and this and this, it will still be so because it's flex box. But if I give it, for example, this class LG-2 to all of these, so come to the container section, this one, LG-2 and LG-2. Now what are you expecting?
कंटेनर को हमने फ्लेक्स रैप नहीं किया सर.
Good question. Container is always flex dash wrap. Good point. This is right, and G2 LG-2 Why do we have 3 divs in this one? Okay, it's fine. These are in 2 columns now. If I just here they change, maybe because some other CSS is overriding it, but for now you can just check we have 2 columns now.
We zoom in, that's why the screen is zooming.
Yeah. So what is this LG-2 doing? We have given it a style of LG-2 means if I want on a large screen some flex item to be of the 50% width, I already have given it this one. But if I change it to this, right, and how will it be now? 3 columns. If I change it to 2, because we already have 4, what will it be?
4 columns and
This and this. 4, sorry. It's now 4. So visually you have written CSS once only, right? LG-4, and just the class names is signifying how the items should look on large screens. Similarly, I am going to give this an assignment to you so that you can have classes for these missing ones also, these ones, and also you should use media queries for these, so that you can give more than one class to an item. So for example, the assignment is, and we will then stop here because it's a lot of stuff for today. So for example, LG-4 means on large screens, if you can just look into it, LG-4 means on large screens there will be 4 columns. But if I use say extra large -6, so it means on very large screen there should be 6 columns. And if I use MD-2 for example, so it means on tablet or medium screens there should be 2 columns. And here if I use SM-2, it means on small screens there will be 2 columns. But if extra small, XS-1, so there should be 1 column. So your task won't be to write CSS again and again and again and again. It will be nightmare for you. What you will do is you will create classes like these and just give classes like these to the markup, and they will be showing in different columns. Is this assignment clear?
Yes, sir.
So hopefully you will be able to do it. And you might have heard of frameworks like Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is based on such techniques also. CSS has already been written for the number of columns, and you will have only to use the classes for the number of columns also. Is this clear? So hopefully today's session was fruitful for you as well. Tomorrow we will start doing grid layouts, inshallah.